Okay, I'm Joel Swagger, and we're standing next to Goldfinger P51D Mustang. We're looking at some of the crash, fire, rescue specifics on this airplane. It has a liquid-cooled Merlin engine. Of course, it's right here, and there's a couple different fluids in a Mustang. So if you see something leaking out of it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's fuel. It also has coolant. Coolant is all throughout the airplane, header tank, right behind the propeller up high. There's lots of coolant lines that run underneath through the wheel wells, all the way down to the radiator underneath. We also have oil in it. Oil tank is in the engine compartment behind the engine. And there are also oil lines that run in the engine compartment, through the wheel wells, and the oil cooler is also in the scoop. Also another fluid in it is hydraulic fluid. The hydraulic fluid tank is behind the firewall, between the firewall and the instrument panel, and there are hydraulic lines that run throughout the airplane. So it's not uncommon for a Mustang to get a stack fire, and that would be on engine startup. You'll see flames coming out of the exhaust. It's not unusual to see flames coming out, even so high as to wrap around the cowling. It doesn't mean the airplane's on fire. So if the pilot is starting it, he needs to be aware that there's a stack fire, but let him finish starting it. Starting will usually put the fire out, and unless he calls for fire extinguishing, let him finish starting it. Usually it'll go out at engine start. But if he does ask for assistance, the flame's going to be on the outside, but really the fire, if it comes to that point, will be inside the cowling. So access to the inside of the engine compartment, the easiest way to get in there is a small panel here. It has quarter turn fasteners that use a slot-headed screwdriver. This is the easiest one to get off. It's very accessible, and there's room inside of there to spray fire retardant. In the event that the pilot decides he would need assistance to put out an engine fire, he'd give the figure 8 signal and point to where he wants it. Like I said, this is the panel, and behind it is the carburetor, and a lot of the fuel lines for the carburetor are on the near the carburetor and on the left side. The fuel pump is on the left side of the engine. Mustangs typically have 2 fuel tanks, one in each wing. They're located right here on both sides, and they hold 92 gallons each. This airplane, that's the only spot for fuel in it. So to get the canopy open on the Mustang, there's 2 ways of doing it. The first way would be to push in the small button on the side here. That releases the handle in the cockpit and will allow you to push it back. There's a handle on the side here that doesn't open it. It can help you push it open, but it's not an emergency opening. There's a handle like this on both sides. An emergency way to get the canopy off is to pull the red handle forward of the button. That releases the whole canopy. With that handle pulled, you can push the canopy off the airplane. It completely releases it. And the emergency handle to release the canopy is only on the right-hand side. So the non-emergency way of opening the canopy is to push the button here on the side, hold it down the whole time you're pushing the canopy open, and it releases the canopy crank. Hold that down, push it back. So here we are strapped into the Mustang. It's got 2 shoulder harnesses, lap belt, and a center strap. And to release the seat belt, you can turn the handle here either way. It'll release going either way. So you turn it, releases all of them. Once a seat belt is released, you can grab me right by the parachute and pull me out. Shut off in this Mustang is the red handle here. When it's up, it's on. To shut it off is down. That'll shut off all the fuel supply to the engine. Right above that we have the Magneto Switch, and when it's rotated counterclockwise all the way, it's off, just like it is there. The battery disconnect switch over here on the right side console, and it's marked battery, and aft is off.